Welcome to my channel. So this morning, kind of excited. I've got a couple of Russell Green River knives I want to talk about. Recently got these. One of them I actually made the scales for it, or the handles for it. These are just a lot of fun. They're very affordable. Russell has got some really historic designs as well as some more contemporary ones. And it's a company that's been around since, I think, what, 1834? I did a video about the Russell Green River hunting and fishing knife and the history of Russell Green River in a previous video. I'll put a link in the description down below for that video. But let's take a look at these. I think you'll find these are some, some additional knives that are kind of fun to have, and we'll take a look at them. So before we get these on the workbench, if you would please click on the like and subscribe buttons, and let's get started. Well, let's get started. So these are the two new Russell Green River knives that I just spoke of. If you haven't seen the previous video, I have a video on this Russell Green River knife and some of the history of Russell in a previous video. And this is their hunting and fishing knife. Really great knife. Probably something you should look at. Russell Green River's been around a long time, since 1834, and again, I'm not going to go through the whole history. You can watch that other video, but I have a video about this too. I found this at an antique flea market, and it's a Russell Green River knife. And if we get actually kind of close here, you'll be able to see it actually says Russell Green River. It's a little kind of hard to read with the lights, but it's J. Russell and Company, Green River Works. And this knife is it's really beautifully made. I love the way the bolster's forged. If you look closely, you can actually see the forging. I mean, you can see where this is hammer forged. So this is a hand forged blade. You can see this irregular surface here where it's hammered. So I'm not sure the age of this knife. I would really, if anyone has any idea, I'd really love to hear your thoughts on it. But I found this at an antique flea market for like $5, and I don't know. It's been around a while. Anyway, the knives we're talking about today are these two from Russell Green River, and they are. This one is their what they currently call their fish knife, but if you look in some websites. Track of the Wolf predominantly is the one that I have looked at a lot of these on. They actually refer to this knife as the Ripper. That sounds kind of gory, but it's a very plain shaped knife. Just a drop point. Almost looks like a paring knife, although your average paring knife is a little bit smaller. But it's the model 2022 or 2022. Not to be confused with the year, because it has nothing to do with it. But you can see it's laser engraved here, Russell Green River Works, made in USA. And that's one of the cool things. These are made in the United States. This one, I was kind of surprised. The handle, while similar in construction to this, is actually thicker. And although not as wide, top to bottom, it's a thicker handle. I may even drill the rivets out on this and take the scales off and plane them down from the back side to be a little bit thinner, and then put them back on. I find this just a little fat for my taste, but if you've got, and I've got kind of small hands, but if you've got good sized hands, a thinner handle might be a little less hand filling. So it's very functional. Can't complain about that at all. Just seems a little fat for that knife. Anyway, this has a 4 1/4 inch blade. Track of the Wolf states that the blade thickness is 0.72 and 0.072 of an inch, and that is true in this area. But if you actually measure what's inside the handle here, it comes out to about 0.095. Handle's about 4 1/8 inches long, and the whole thing's about 8 3/8 inches overall length. These are made of 1095 steel, which is nice, hardened to a Rockwell 55-56 as I understand it. This is a really interesting design. It's, full flat grind. It's got a little bit of flex to it. I think it's going to be great certainly for cleaning fish, like they stated as a fish knife. I think it'd be great for that, for food prep. I think along with, and part of the reason I bought it is I wanted a knife to kind of go with this one that I could use while camping and and cooking outdoors. I do a lot of Dutch oven cooking, and so this will kind of go along with it. It's more like the size of what you'd call a petty knife, maybe. But it's, I think it's just going to have a lot of utility for food preparation, just for general knife use. I'm going to have to make some sheaths for both of these. That's a future project. But these are very inexpensive. I bought this one on Amazon. I think it was around $25. It's very affordable, and you can get those, and it's made in USA. This one I bought from Track of the Wolf, and it also Russell Green River Works. You can see it there. This, I decided to buy just the blade blank, and I made scales for this, or handles for this, out of curly maple. And so I shaped these out of maple and sanded them to shape, and mixed a really strong cup of tea, basically 3 tea bags and about 4 or 5 ounces of water, and made a really strong mixture. Swabbed that on here 3 or 4 times to get the color I wanted, and then I've finished this with Danish oil, so it's got a nice oiled wood finish rather than a glossy finish, and so that turned out really nice. Now, Track of the Wolf calls this a Pacific paring knife or a patch knife. They, I think, predominantly sell it as a patch knife, but the official design of it is called a Pacific paring knife. I guess you could use it for a paring knife. It's kind of an interesting design. When I first got it, I thought maybe I would regrind it into something like a drop point, maybe something kind of like that. But in retrospect, I think I'm going to leave it the way it is. It is kind of a unique design, and I really got it so that I could use it with my black powder rifles as a patch knife. That's something I want to use it for. And I tried to do some research to see if this in any way resembled a historic patch knife, and I really didn't find that. Historic patch knives look a whole lot more like a paring knife than they do anything else, largely. A lot of them have a handle made of a piece of antler or something like that. That seems to be really common, and fairly thin blades, and not anything looking like this. But you see a lot of black powder people in the black powder community using these as patch knives. It certainly is a good design for it. It's a nice thin blade. The blade on this is 3.5 inches. The handle is about 3 1/8. So it's a fairly short handle. Overall is 6 5/8. The blade material is, again, about the same .072 material thickness, but if you measure inside before I put the scales on, if you measure the unfinished part of the handle, or the steel, that's under the handle, it was about .086 inches thick. And again, 1095 steel. And these are carbon steel, and you'll see this one's actually starting to get a bit of a patina on it from use. Kind of hard to see with the lights, but it's starting to get some patina. Just depends on what you cut with it. If you start cutting, especially citrus fruit and things like that, it'll stain. And I could do a forced patina on these, but they'll get their own patina soon enough. Anyway, this is kind of handy. It's just a real handy design. I think for a patch knife it would work really well. I think it's going to probably get some use in my kitchen. I think it's going to work for a lot of things. So I don't know, it's just a fascinating design to me. And from Track of the Wolf, you can buy this, just the blade blank, not the whole knife, of course, but you can buy the blade blank for around $13. So it's really inexpensive. And if you like some of the do-it-yourself kind of work, they sell the rivets, and I just use brass pins, but they sell the knife handle rivets and the step drill to use those type of rivets. They sell everything you need. You can buy all the pieces. You can even buy a kit that has some wood and the rivets and everything you need to make a knife. If you're into making your own knives, you can get all these blades for all of these designs from Track of the Wolf. And they're very inexpensive. I'll put a link to Track of the Wolf in the description down below. They've got some really neat stuff. And if you're into black powder firearms and all the accoutrements that go with those, they're a good place to do that. Okay, so these are the 2 knives. I think these are going to be a lot of fun to use. I'm looking forward to using this, and I've just got this in the scales and everything put on it yesterday and got it sharpened up. It's nice and sharp, and so I'm looking forward to using this. I'm just trying to decide exactly where it's going to fit. I did this to put with my black powder gear. Unfortunately, I don't get my black powder gear as often as I'd like. So I hate to see this just sit around, so it's probably going to get some other use before it ends up in my black powder kit. Anyway, I mean, these three together might make just a really good camp knife kit or Dutch oven cooking knife kit for cooking outdoors. One kind of funny side note, when I looked at this knife on Russell's website, Dexter Russell's website, it said the handles were rosewood. And I stated that in the video, and then I had a couple people say, that's not rosewood, it's walnut. And I think they're right. I think this is walnut looking at it. It certainly doesn't feel as hard as rosewood. And when I looked this one up on the same website, it also said that the handle was rosewood. And I'm like, I think that's ash, maybe. It's not rosewood, obviously. And so obviously there's some errors on their website. I may have to stain this to match this more. That might be another thing. Anyway, well, these are the knives from Russell Green River. If you're interested in some of their cutlery, they have some really fascinating designs, and I think they're just a lot of fun to use. They're very inexpensive. They're USA made. They have a lot of different patterns, and definitely worth exploring if you're looking for something new and different, and actually historic and different in collecting and using knives. But anyway, there you go, Russell Green River. There you have it, Russell Green River knives. These are just a lot of fun to use and collect. If you haven't taken a look at Russell Green River knives, especially if you're into the out of doors, they've got some great knives to offer, very good prices, good quality materials, and just a lot of fun to have and to use. Anyway, if you have any thoughts or questions, please don't hesitate to leave me a comment. I always love hearing from my viewers. And again, thanks for watching.